CNN. The Senate returns for a critical 3-week period when Republicans will try to salvage their healthcare bill. But it's clearly in deep trouble and they might not be able to save it. Things are looking especially tough after the bill hung out there over the recess, which Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell badly wanted to avoid, and it got battered by voters and senators. Watch Tuesday's Senate lunch. That's when we might get the first real indications of the week on which direction leadership is moving, and it'll be an opportunity for leaders to take the temperature of the conference on how they're feeling after the week-long recess. Maybe the clearest sign that things aren't looking good? President Donald Trump's tweet Monday morning, "I cannot imagine that Congress would dare to leave Washington without a beautiful new healthcare bill fully approved and ready to go." CNN's latest whip count on the no votes, 10 first caveat, 10 equals only the Republicans who have publicly said no. There could be more, and other Republicans, while perhaps not saying directly that they'd oppose the legislation as written, described concerns or reservations they had about the current proposal. Second caveat, plenty of the no folks have said they want to get to a yes, and some ultimately could. What he said in Kentucky last week, Republicans might need to work with Democrats to prop up Obamacare if they fail to pass repeal and replace legislation. No, McConnell isn't giving up on health care, and he's not yet close to pulling the plug. And these weren't new comments. McConnell has brought up the possibility of having to work with Democrats to stabilize markets the day he delayed the vote 2 weeks ago. This has been a genuinely difficult process. The needle that he's trying to thread to get to 50 yes votes is very, very tough. It's not a secret that there is real frustration about how long the healthcare exercise has dragged on. This is a warning shot to Republicans. They can either suck it up and vote for a bill that isn't perfect, and it's never going to be perfect for everyone. Or they can let the bill fail and stomach the political reality of reneging on a promise they've been making for years and years, and the fact that the next necessary step would be to work with Democrats to do damage control on Obamacare. What happened over the July 4th recess? He even made clear he was against the bill. Senator Susan Collins, "People in Maine are telling her they don't want me to support it." Senator Dean Heller, who is currently a no on the bill, got yelled at by a man back home to vote for the bill. So the pressure goes both ways. What happened over the weekend? Senator John McCain did not sound optimistic about his party's chances when he told CBS John DeCushion on Face the Nation when he said the healthcare proposal was probably going to be dead. "I fear that it's going to fail, and then we should convene a Republican conference and say, what are we going to do? Introduce a bill," the Arizona Republican said Sunday. "Say to the Democrats, here's a bill." It doesn't mean they don't, but they control it. It means they can have amendments considered. And even when they lose, then they're part of the process. That's what democracy is supposed to be all about. What changes could be made to the bill? Short answer is we don't know yet what the revised bill will look like. Those conversations will have to happen this week. But we do know at least 2 potential revisions to the bill that were sent to the Congressional Budget Office for scoring before members left town for the July 4th recess. The Cruz Amendment, known as the Consumer Freedom Amendment, it would allow insurers who offer plans under Obamacare to also offer plans that are unregulated under the law. Conservatives like this, because they say it would lower premiums. Critics, including some moderate Republicans, hate it, because they think it means skyrocketing premiums for the sick, as well as weakened protections for those with pre-existing conditions. Flexibility for health savings accounts, another provision that conservatives find appealing. It would offer more flexibility on how people can use HSAs, including using them to pay for premiums. Asked about the Cruz Amendment, Mark Short, White House Legislative Affairs Director, said, "The White House is very comfortable with the policy. I think the question we all need to address is, does it add votes or subtract votes? We'll have a better sense this week after it is scored and after Cruz talks with more senators himself." What is the White House saying? Short acknowledged that the messaging around the health care repeal effort has not been strong and faults all parties involved. including the administration and congressional Republicans. I think it's fair to say the messaging throughout has been underwhelming, collectively, among Republicans, Short told CNN over the weekend. It's a complicated subject. Short said a lot of things were under discussion when it comes to how Trump might engage in this sales effort, but was reluctant to say for sure what the president would do beyond additional phone calls. You might see the president travel, he said. You might see more messaging coming from him too. Short would not expand on what that messaging could look or sound like. If the president does travel to try to sell the bill, he is likely to visit states of wavering Republicans, like Ohio or West Virginia, though there are no plans for travel set in stone. There will be a vote when McConnell decides he has 50 yes votes. He's not there yet. Talk from the White House of a possible vote next week. Just remember how many times the White House predicted votes when the House was considering its bill earlier this year, and how many times those predictions were not accurate. The White House doesn't determine the Senate schedule. When will we see new CBO scores? Still unclear. But, Senate GOP leaders have been in constant touch with CBO, also that when they're ready to pull the trigger, they can get a score from the CBO as quickly as possible. Short said he expects the CBO score on the latest drafts in the next 7 to 10 days. This week will be more focused on continuing to talk about the policy that is in the bill with the various senators that are undecided, he said.